And because I do cover, you know, anyone from like Beyoncé to Tamar Braxton or whatever, and if they happen to like the picture, you know, you just kind of get this landslide of followers like within 5 minutes, right? You guys know that. Like I think Tamar Braxton commented on one of my videos, and like suddenly all of my followers were Tamar should this, Tamar should that, Tamar, you know. So, but you get a little worried because you think, well, I'm not only posting pictures of Tamar Braxton, so are they gonna leave? You know, are they gonna get bored? But I think by and large, what I've really tried to do is keep it dynamic and keep it diverse, and remember all the things that people are following me, why they're following me, the reasons they are following me. So I do, you know, post pictures of celebrities that I meet, behind the scenes things I'm doing day to day. Joy is also really good at that. And I think it keeps those people engaged and interested, even if it's maybe something that they specifically don't like. So that's kind of how I figured it out to work for me.
So, and you can answer that as a second here too, Joy, but I would say, one of the things I think people are really confused about when they use Instagram, especially from a brand perspective or just even from a personal perspective, is there's so many differences between Instagram and like the main, you know, Twitter, say Facebook. Like there's no resharing unless we have some little hacks, by the way, for you at the end here. There's no resharing, there's no links. Kind of, could you explain how you see it as being how you approach it differently, or how people should be approaching it differently?
Yesterday, I had a photo shoot for rodeo. I did rodeo fashion. And, yesterday I had a photo shoot for rodeo fashion. We did it out on the east side of downtown and kind of made it look like a country setting. And I posted pictures from that photo shoot on my Instagram. Now, normally, there's no other platform that I would do that on. But this Instagram gives me an opportunity to kind of put in people's mind, hey, this is coming. This story will be coming out March 1. If you pick up a paper, you'll be able to read rodeo fashion. So I see it as kind of a way to tease people about what I'm doing in a good way, to share with them the back, because everyone wants to know the inside story. How does a photo shoot work? What's the backstory? How the behind the scenes kind of thing. And I think Joey and I both kind of do that, and it's a way to connect with people who are looking on Instagram. It's also a way to get the word out about what we're doing. And a couple years ago, I met with a social media strategist, and she told me that I needed to put myself more in pictures, and I don't like to do that. I don't like taking pictures. I don't think I don't. So she says, no, people want to see you. They want to see the name behind the person that they're reading. And so I started doing that, and that increased my followers tremendously. And I had no idea that people even cared what kind of jacket I was wearing. But they do, because I write about fashion.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they care about what kind of music Joey's listening to. So it's the same kind of dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, obviously there are differences, but I've really tried to find a way to make them all work together. I don't post every single thing I post on Instagram, on Facebook, or Twitter. I'm sort of, to Joy's point, if it's something very visual, if I'm working, like we had a rapper in the photo studio 2 days ago, and he wanted music so he could kind of get in the mood of the photo shoot. So the photographer put on an Eminem song and he started rapping to it, and it was really fun and funny, and he was really charming. So I took video of it and posted that on Instagram, but then I did also share it on Facebook and on Twitter, and it got retweeted a lot, and he posted it on his Facebook, and he has a big following, so it gets people involved. And like she said, if somebody's a fan of that person or is interested in that, they will remember to look for that story, I guarantee you. It's just, the other thing is, you do have to put a lot of yourself in there. I think people are afraid sometimes to get too personal when you're trying to create a brand or build a brand. But part of that is people are interested in your personality. I will tell you, when I go to somebody's Instagram page and it's a lot of just pictures of something else, like if they're a makeup artist or a photographer or whatever, the first thing I do is scroll through and try to find a picture of them because I want to know what they look like. You're curious about what that person looks like. And if I'm scrolling too far and there's no picture of them, I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I mean, people want to see what you look like. It doesn't mean you have to post, 10 selfies a day, but, they want to see you in the environment that you're a part of. They want to see what you do. They want to see how you react to it. They want to know where you're at. So it's really been for me kind of working them all together, but then also realizing what works for what platform. I found very specific things that I cover that work really well on Tumblr that don't work as well anywhere else. There are very specific things I cover that work really well on Twitter. Same thing with Instagram. You just it's kind of trial and error. You have to kind of, in the very beginning, you throw everything against the wall and you start to see what sticks. And then that peels away everything else and you learn how to use that platform for what you need.
That's very good. That's a really good point that you're making there. And also, I like that you're saying that you have to test things, because I think that's really interesting too. One of the things I think we haven't talked about yet, which is really, I think, critical in Instagram, is hashtagging. So how is hashtagging in Instagram different than, like, say, on Twitter or, another platform? Twitter obviously is the big one. But.
I think Joey uses more hashtags than I do. But I think hashtag on Instagram, as many as possible. I really believe that. As many, like on Twitter, you put a few because you don't want to get people mad. But on Instagram, it's unlimited. I'm going to share this. I have my dogs. I have an Instagram account for my dogs. I know. I did not want to be the crazy lady with a bunch of dog pictures on my personal page, so I created one for them. And what I realized is that there is a whole world of dog lovers out there, and they have almost 3,000 followers. My dogs. They have almost more than I do. It's unbelievable. And every picture I put like probably 50 hashtags. And a lot of the pictures I post on my personal page, I put a lot of hashtags. And I think with Instagram, it's the more, the better, because the more you put, the more people will see it in different, whether it be in fashion, or if I'm writing fitness, or if I say, I have a hashtag, why I love Houston. A lot of the pictures are, of Houston things, and then people will follow me from that. Joey and I do music and talk about hashtags.
Yeah, I tend to use hashtags a lot on Instagram. On Twitter, not so much, because your space is limited, and at least for me, they don't work quite as well. What works better on Twitter is tagging the person that you're talking about. But yeah, on Instagram, I use tags related to whatever it is that I post about. Like I did the thing with the rapper, so I hashtag his name, I hashtag rap, I hashtag Houston rap, hip hop, Houston, H-Town, music, writer, Houston Chronicle, journalist, all that stuff. It sounds really silly, but you will get followers based on that. And I find myself a lot of times searching hashtags that I have an interest in. If I hashtag something, I click on my own hashtag, look through some of the people's photos, I'll like some of their photos, they'll come back and like some of mine, maybe they'll follow me. It's kind of like networking, I mean, it's just kind of like going around at a party, meeting people, saying hi really quickly, and then they remember you the next time. That's kind of the way that works for me. Yeah, thank you. But it's, yeah, I mean, I think hashtags are essential, for Instagram. And then also, when you go to the, not the main page with your feed, but the next page shows you things that are related to you, things, related to what you like, things related to what you've clicked on. That's very effective because your stuff's going to show up in there too, and people will see that and then click on it. So, hashtags work in that way as well.
I just took a picture of you guys for Instagram. I'll hashtag SMBHAU. Anyway, so yeah, hashtags are kind of like, is that kind of like the links, if you will, of Instagram? Can you explain? And there's a little hack that you have about linking too. So how do you get people back to your page? Especially for brands, it's important to get people back to interact with them on their website often. Right. But could you talk about that a little bit? Essentially, I think the reason we both are on social media so much is not
not just feed our egos. It's because we work for the newspaper and we want people to, at the end of the day, read our stories. Instagram, like we said, you can't click on a link through a picture, but there is a link at the very top of your main page. If I'm writing a story about, you know, whatever it is I'm writing about, rodeo's coming up, if I'm writing about rodeo, I will probably post, you know, a couple of pictures every night from the rodeo and remind people to read my review. Luckily, the Chronicle does a lot of shortcuts. So in the caption, I just write, go to chron.com/rodeo. That's easy for people to remember. If not, you know, in my bio on Instagram, I have a link to my Twitter. If you click on that, that link is live and it'll take you to my Twitter page. So if I post a picture, I'll say something like, go to the link in my bio to see the review. I tweet it at the same time that I post the Instagram photo. So that way, when somebody does go to my Twitter, hopefully it's right at the top. They don't have to scroll through a million tweets waiting for that review, because, you know, people aren't going to sit there going through something looking for it. They're going to want it as soon as it comes up. And if it's not there, they're going to move on to the next thing. But I found that that's worked for me. If it's a really easy link, that's probably the best thing. And then the other thing is, yeah, just reference them to the link in your bio. And a lot of times what I've seen, especially musicians do, is if they're promoting an album or promoting a single or a video, they change their link regularly that's in the bio. They, you know, if they're promoting a video at that specific time, they'll say, go to the link in my bio, and it goes straight to that video. And they change it for the next one, they change it for the next one. I mean, none of these things have to be permanent. You can change the link as often as you change your default photo. It's just up to you and how you want to use it. But, you know, the fact that it does link back to my Twitter, which I'm very active on, I think really helps me, at least in that way.
Great. So could you talk a little bit too about how have you used Instagram for reporting at all? And like, sort of how have you used it for reporting besides, I mean, you were talking about behind the scenes stuff, but as far as discovering things, are you ever using it for that?
I have even put on Instagram a little note that I'm looking for such and such, or I'm looking for designers in Houston, whatever it is, and have them email me, and I'll put my email in a little box. They have these apps that you can create, you know, a message in there, and I've put those in Instagram. And I'm also looking at people's pages for, again, like I said, for ideas, and I find about new stores or new products. I did a style profile actually on Beyoncé stylist who is from Austin. Yeah, and his name is Ty Hunter, and I've known Ty for over 15 years, but I follow him actively on his page, and I happened to notice that he was launching his own clothing line. And so I reached out to him because I've lost his phone number, but I reached out to him through Facebook, and he messaged me back. And then we set up an interview, but I found out initially what he was doing through Instagram. So one thing I love about Instagram is that you can see what people are actually doing. I cover a lot of fitness. A lot of people are putting fitness pictures up, fitness videos. That's very helpful to me as I am reporting, because I'm looking for new techniques, I'm doing something on Tabata. Have you heard the Tabata method? Okay. Well, that's something. It's a new kind of fitness thing. But I found out about it on Instagram. So that's been very helpful for me.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've found sources that I've used in stories through Instagram. In particular, last year I was writing, I think, a few pieces about Selena around the anniversary of her death and her birthday, and I was posting a lot of pictures because I was feeling very nostalgic. So I was posting pictures of her. All these Selena fans followed me. I ended up writing a story and connecting with 2 or 3 of them and actually using them in the story. Because they kind of managed these pages that were fan tributes that had literally like 50,000 followers. And so I used a lot of them in the story. I found a shirt designer in Australia that was making shirts with Selena's face on them. I ended up using them in the story. So, I mean, and I would have never found any of this stuff, I think, on my own, because these people weren't in Houston. They were, you know, elsewhere, California, like I said, Australia. So
how did you find them? Did you just...
some of it was through, my post initially was through the hashtags. I just kind of searched the hashtags. And then once you post something and people see that you have an interest in it, they really sometimes reach out and help. Hey, have you seen these cool shirts? Hey, have you seen this? Hey, have you seen that? Somebody mentioned the shirts to me on one of in a comment. They linked to their Instagram page. I clicked on it. I saw the shirts. And I was like, oh my God, I want these first. And then second, I used it in my story. So, I mean, it was really that easy. I mean, it was just in a matter of like 2 days that all this happened. And I'm still in touch with some of those people. And now, they have tribute pages. They've linked back to a lot of my stories, and they've helped me a lot, even now recently, because there's a big tribute in Corpus Christi in April. And they helped me a lot in terms of the research for that. So.
That's great. So yeah, I mean, and it's not like you have to have thousands and thousands of followers to be like effective on Instagram. Is that true? Could you say something about that?
I think my followers have grown very slowly. I feel like I've been on Instagram forever, and I should have a lot more, but it is what it is. I have about, I think, 3,000, and but what I see is that it's not necessarily the number that's important. It's really how you use it. And, the ones that I pay attention to, like Joey was saying, where you have a mix of what you're doing, who you are, a little personal kind of things involved. And I try to do that. There are days, yesterday I posted 6 pictures. I might not post anything today. But then but I do try to keep it present. And that's one thing I've learned with social media, is that you have to be active on it. You can't let it die for 3 weeks and then come back and hit it again and expect people to have that kind of connection with you. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have less followers than Joy, but I think you define what your value is, in terms of Instagram. You define what the doesn't matter if you have 50,000 followers or 50 followers. I mean, honestly, a lot of these people probably have paid for their followers. So, that's why when you go to their pictures, they only have like 15 likes, and you're like, wait, you have 50,000 followers. Why do you only have 15 likes? But cheater. Yeah, cheating. But I mean, yeah, you define what the value is for you, and you meet that personal goal. Don't worry about the number of followers you have. Also, if you have. For me, a lot of the reward is also in the fact that certain celebrities or performers or what have you follow me back, influencers that are important to your domain. I also pay attention to, quite honestly, I pay attention to a lot of what my niece is doing. She's 17. So she's, she sometimes gives me little hacks and tells me how to do things, or will write silly hashtags on my stuff that really mean something. And I've learned a lot really from her. About all the social media platforms. But yeah, I mean, I think it really isn't important in the end how many followers you have, as long as you're using it in a way that's effective for you. Would I like to have 50,000 followers? Of course I would. But I mean, I'll get there someday.
We'll try to get you about 100 today. Everybody follow Joey and Joy. There's a lot of people in here that had them, so please do. I want to turn this, I mean, we've been talking a lot about personal use of it, but this also applies to professional use of it, I think, too. But can we talk a little bit about brand and brand use of it? I'd like to have you guys talk a little bit about the things you've seen that you like or don't like that brands are doing. Have you at all interacted with brands on Instagram? Let's start with that.
I deal a lot with brands like Macy's, JCPenney's, because I'm writing about them. If I post something and I will tag JCPenney, they will sometimes they'll repost it, or I don't know, what do you call it? Yeah, I guess it's reposting. Yeah. Or they will interact and say, oh, that's a cute top, or whatever, something like that. And I think when I'm looking at the brands, I'm looking at what new products are out, what they're showing, and a lot of them are doing it well. And there are a lot of them who are just bombarding people with a bunch of photos that mean nothing. Right. But then there's some that I can kind of glean what I need and make it work in the story.
So can you tell me, give me an example of something that's good?
Something that's good.
That you liked. Something that you liked. That's something that worked for you.
Something that's worked for me.
You can think about it in a minute. Okay. Make Joey jump first. Yeah.
I'm actually looking somebody up on Instagram. This is the only time it's acceptable to be on my phone, right? While I'm speaking. For me, a lot of it is personal brands. be it local or national. Yeah, I found her. Okay. So, you know, I've noticed a few people who I think are very effective in terms of building their personal brand, which is probably what a lot of you are also interested in. There are 3 people specifically that I follow on Instagram, singers, rappers, performers that I think are really good at it. Roosh Williams, who we did the photo shoot with earlier, he's really good at Instagram. Chingo Bling, who a lot of you may know, he has thousands of followers, but he's super active, posting multiple times a day. I don't think his name on Instagram is Chingo Bling. I think it's Cancun Shawty. SHAWTY.
Somebody find these and put them out on the stream. Yeah.
He's great at Instagram. It's not, the thing that annoys me the most about it, sometimes a musician or a performer, is all they're doing is plugging their product. Like it's 10 pictures of their CD cover. I don't need to see that 10 times. You know what I mean? I'm gonna probably unfollow you if you do that. And then if you tag me in it, I'm gonna block you. But yeah, don't ever tag me. I mean, unless you're here, of course you guys can all tag me. But but yeah, I mean, you know, it's not effective to hit somebody with something over the head, the exact same thing over and over. You have to be dynamic and different and show them a personal side of you. He's really good at that. He posts videos, he posts photos of his daughter, he posts, of course, stuff about his music, behind the scenes videos, whatever. But he's good at keeping it fresh and he's good at keeping it funny. He's really funny. He also has a marketing degree, so he's really smart about all this stuff. But he's worked really, really, really hard at building his brand. And I have immense admiration and respect for him because I think he does it in probably one of the most effective ways I've ever seen. Another one is, I think her name on Instagram is Dominique Music. She's an R&B singer. She's really beautiful, but she posts a lot of videos. She posts a lot of teasers for things that she's working on. You know, but it's like him, it's also diverse. It's a mix of stuff. It's not just constantly promoting her music. It's, you know, showing you a different side of her. And that, in the end, takes everyone back to who she ultimately is, which is a performing artist. I mean, and that's the point. I mean, and that's the point for me. You know, I do love being on social media, but the end point for me is getting people to recognize who I am and read my stories and drive traffic to my blog posts and all that kind of stuff. And you have to be, I think you have to be diverse and dynamic, and you really have to post regularly. You don't have to do it multiple times a day. You may not even have to do it once a day, but don't go for more than like maybe 2 days without posting something. Yeah. Even if it's something, you know, inconsequential or silly. If you think your breakfast looks really spectacular, post a picture of it. People love food pictures. Yeah, for whatever reason, people love food pictures. People love dog pictures, food pictures. They really do.
Unless you're Martha Stewart.
Yeah, but it's just, you find the way that it works for you and your audience or your fan base if you're a performer. You find how it works for you, and I think it has to become second nature. It really does. I mean, for me, at this point as a journalist, social media is part of my job. It's not an extra part of my job. It's not something else I have to do. It's just part of what I have to do. When I write a story, I know that's not the end. I know that I have to get it on Twitter. I have to get it on Facebook. I have to get it on Tumblr or Instagram if it's applicable. I have to get it on Google. I mean, there are all these components that go along with just, you know, the main part of what I do. It's not anymore just writing the story and it's in the paper and it's done.
So do you, just kind of a sideways question around that. Are you required to kind of do that with your job? Like, does the number of people that look at your stories online count, like, in what you're judged on?
We have a report on Twitter, and it ranks how where you are in terms of your Twitter followers in the newsroom, and we get that monthly. So you kind of see, and I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. Because you're like, oh my gosh, I lost 100 followers or whatever. We have that, and you do pay attention to the numbers, and I don't think we have that pressure as much as TV people do. I know they are really watched in terms of, you know, how many posts they do, all that kind of stuff. We are so regular with it, we don't have we don't feel that pressure because it's just a natural part of what we do. we post, yeah, I do pay attention to the numbers, but I'm not obsessed with them. I mean, I'm really not.
It's very easy to get obsessed with the numbers. You know, you find yourself in these moments where you're just like, why did I lose that follower? Why did I lose that follower? Why did I lose that follower? You know, but you know, yeah, in the end, you have to just, it's important, but you know, what's more important is staying true to your brand and staying true to that audience that still is with you. If they leave, so what? You're going to get another follower in a day or two. You know, when I first started, and this is not Instagram, this is Twitter. When I first started Twitter, and I always say this, I was tweeting way too much, like all the time, like every single thing all the time. I know I was probably super annoying for like those first 5 people that followed me, but that's how I learned how to use it. Nobody taught me. I didn't hear somebody speak. I didn't read anything. I just learned on my own how to do it, and that's how I learned with Facebook, with Instagram, with Tumblr, with Snapchat. I mean, with Vine, all these things I learned through trial and error and making mistakes and looking maybe silly sometimes or whatever. But, you know, I think that is the most effective way to do it. You can't be intimidated by it or scared by it. You have to just start doing it. And that's it. You will learn, it will become comfortable, and you will realize how it can work for you. I promise.
Yeah, of course. Because I cover fashion, there are a lot of fashion pages out there, a lot of fashion bloggers. And, you know, initially, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was paying attention to a lot of the bloggers because they all had cute pictures of them and cute outfits. But now so much, I'm not looking at that. And I think that's been overdone. And so I'm looking a little bit more for the diversity where they're talking about product, or they're talking about have a video, or they're showing something that's informational that I can learn from or I can use in a story. I'm not necessarily looking at the post of cute outfits anymore. So it's significantly for me.
Yeah, so I mean, I think evolving is part of what we have to bring out here too. And all of these things are evolving. For example, I mean, Instagram now has a direct messaging feature. Have you guys used that at all? You're shaking your head big, so I'm gonna give it to Joey.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've used it in the past. When I was doing the Selena things, a lot of that was done through direct messaging, just because I didn't want to go back and forth on somebody's comments. That gets so annoying. I posted a video from a concert I was reviewing. I don't remember what it was. Enrique Iglesias, I think. And these 2 girls who I don't know and weren't following me were having like this entire conversation on my post. It went on for like 45 minutes, and they were just like making these inside jokes. No, it was Drake. I'm sorry, it was at the Drake concert. And I just wanted to I didn't say anything, but I just wanted to come and shut up. Oh my! So I didn't want to be that person. So yeah, we went through direct comments. I think there were a couple of times when they had to send me photos of things. They did it that way. So yeah, I've used it for work specifically in that way before.
Do you use it at all?
No.
Yeah. So some people do, some people don't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's just so much that you can either use or not use on the platform. So I asked both of these to give me some of their favorite tools and techniques and stuff for Instagram, and I actually made a killer list for you guys. It's on the page, on the event page, and I actually printed it out because I'm so old school. And here it is right here. But a couple of things